This is the National Assembly proceedings, the afternoon sitting on this 19th day of September, the year 2024. This is a live broadcast that is streaming from the Parliament buildings in Nairobi. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. In the order of business for the members of the National Assembly this afternoon, pursuant to the House Standing Order, provisions of the Standing Order 44, paragraph 2, subparagraph C, there are a number of members who will be requesting for statements from various committees. The Honorable Member for Malindi, Honorable Amina Mnyazi, will be requesting for a statement with regards to investigation of a sexual assault case involving Mr. Michael James Ballantyne Noble in Malindi. This is a request for a statement that will be handled by the Committee on Administration and Internal Security. The Honorable Member for Tiati constituency, that is Honorable William Kamket, also will be requesting for a statement to the Committee on Administration and Internal Security with regards to a review of the schemes of service for appointment of chiefs and assistant chiefs in marginalized areas. That is some of the few statements that the members will be requesting for from relevant committees. The members of the National Assembly will also this afternoon resume debate on a motion by the chairperson, Committee on Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library. This is with regards to a report that was laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 4th October, the year 2023. This report is on enhancing reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms, enhancing reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms. This debate already kicked off on the floor of the House. However, it was interrupted on Thursday of August 8th, the year 2024. So this afternoon, this is part of the business that members, once the House commences its business for this afternoon, they will be able to transact. If you're just joining us, is that the House, that is the National Assembly, is about to commence its business. The afternoon sitting for this 19th day of September. And we are just going through the business that they will be transacting this afternoon. As you can see, members are still walking into the chambers. Some have already taken their seats. And the speaker will be making their way into the chambers in a short while. The Honorable Member for Baringo North, Honorable Joseph Makilap, will also be seeking statement from the Administration and Internal Security Committee on landslides in Baringo North constituency. The Committee on Agriculture and Livestock will also be requested to provide a statement on critical shortage of maize seeds in the North Rift region by the Honorable MP for West Pokot, Honorable Rael Kasiwai. That is the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss. She's already inside the chambers. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. My name is Kamche Menza. Good afternoon.
Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. We beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Sergeant Arms, ring the bell for 10 minutes.
Well, that directive by the Speaker for the quorum bell to be rung is with regards, or is a clear indication that the House lacks the requisite quorum at the commencement of House business. If the prayer has been said and the chair has been taken, but the House does not have the required number of members inside the chambers, that is seated inside the chambers, then that will necessitate that quorum bell, of course, to give room for members to make their way into the chambers to allow the House commence its business. And the business that the members will be transacting once the House quorates. There are statements that a few members will be requesting from committees. I had taken you through just a few of them. The Honorable nominated member, Irene Mayaka, will also be requesting for a statement from Sports Culture, that is Committee of Sports and Culture, on the position of the Kenyan national under-17 football team. Of course, these statements are pursuant to the provisions of the House Standing Orders, number 44, paragraph 2, subparagraph C. The Mangbins Bill, this is a bill that is originating, that is the Honorable Member for Tiati, Honorable Kamket. Of course, he's made his way into the chambers, as I had indicated earlier, is that he has a statement that he will be requesting from the Committee on Administration and Internal Security. So members will be making their way into the chambers. Honorable Babu Owino, of course, also among other members getting into the chambers. Remember, at this point, the Sergeant at Arms are also keeping tabs on the numbers of the members who will be inside the chambers. And once that quorum is achieved, then the business will commence for this afternoon sitting. The Mangbins Bill, this is a bill that is originating from the Senate, Bill number 13 of 2022, Senate Bill number 13 of 2022, a bill that is co-sponsored by Honorable Paul Nzengu. Now, if you can recall, is that a debate on this bill, which is at its second reading stage, took place during the afternoon sitting, that is over 17th September, the year 2024. This is a bill that seeks to provide for the development, regulation, and promotion of the Mangbins sector in the country, that is provide for the development, regulation, and promotion of the Mangbins sector in the country. That is Honorable Samuel Arama was already made his way into the chambers. Atandi also has also made his way into the chambers. And in a few, of course, we will be seeing that the quorum is achieved. Now, the Mang Beans bill, which debate already was concluded on the floor of the House. It is a bill that is at its second reading stage. And the debate was concluded this afternoon is that the mover will be called to reply. And the bill will proceed to the next stage. If you're just joining us, is that this is the National Assembly proceedings afternoon sitting. And the chair has already been taken. The speaker is inside the chamber, but the House has not quorated. So currently is a quorum bell that is underway. And those are members making their way into the chambers. And once that quorum is achieved, then the business will continue. Motions, a few motions lined up for consideration this afternoon. The members will be resuming debate on a motion with regards to the report on the Consolidated Fund Services expenditures for the supplementary estimates 1 for the financial year 2024-2025. This is a motion that will be moved by the Chairperson, Public Debt and Privatization Committee. Remember, this paper was laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 24th July, the year 2024. And of course, debate will be resuming after it was interrupted on the 8th of August, the year 2024. So this is also part of the business that this afternoon the members will be considering. That is Honorable Irene Mayaka walking in. As indicated earlier, she will also be seeking a statement. But we have seen the Sajata terms indicate to us that the quorum has been achieved. In a short while, the business, I will be handing over to the business of the day. The motion on the public, that is the clerk. All right, allow me to hand you over. The quorum has been achieved. Good afternoon.
First order. You may stop the bell. Okay, proceed.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Honorable Pukosi, you're standing in for Majority Leader. Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Majority Leader, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, September 19, 2024. 1. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the years ended 30th June 2021 and 30th June 2022, and the certificates therein in respect of A. Miwani Sugar Company, 1988 Limited, in receivership. B. Moroni Sugar Company, Limited, in receivership. C. National Housing Development Fund. 2. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2023 and the certificates therein in respect of A. Miwani Sugar Company, 1989 Limited, in receivership. B. Moroni Sugar Company Limited, in receivership. C, National Housing Development Fund, D, Rift Valley Waterworks Development Agency, C, Pamoja African Alliance Party, F, Democratic Action Party, G, the Service Party, H, Kenya Social Congress, KSC, I, National Ordinary People Empowerment Union, J, Progressive Party of Kenya, K, Kenya National Congress, L, Muungano Party, M, Communist Party of Kenya, N, Democracy and Growth Party, O, Jubilee Party, P, National Rainbow Coalition, Q, Maendeleo Chap Party, R, United Democratic Alliance, UDA, S, People's Empowerment Party, T, Party of Independent Candidates. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Huh? UDM.
I think you need to repeat the last three.
UDM.
You can repeat the last three, just for record purposes.
It is number? That's the last three. R, United Democratic Alliance, which is UDA. I had said that. S, People's Empowerment Party. T, Party of Independent Candidate. I had said that. All that. Okay, thank you. Fort Kenya is not in the list.
Next order. Oh, there's more papers? Yes. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Defense and Intelligence and Foreign Relations. Honorable Nelson Koech, you may proceed.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, the Thursday, 19 September 2024. Report of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, Foreign Relations on its consideration of protocol to the Constitutive Act of the African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament.
Next, Chairperson, Select Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity. Honorable Adan. Okay.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, the 19th September 2024, the report of the Select Committee of National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity on its consideration for the National Cohesion and Integration Bill, National Assembly Bill number 74 of 2023. Thank you.
Hold on. Let me make sound. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence of the following schools seated in the public gallery. Nyanchwa Boys High School from Kisii Central Constituency, Kisii County. Karima Mixed Secondary School from Naivasha Constituency, Nakuru County. Fadhili Junior School from Embakasi West Constituency, Nairobi County. And for Embakasi High School, Mavoko, from Mavoko Constituency, Machakos County. On behalf of the substantive speaker, myself, and the members of parliament, we welcome you to parliament. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Speaker, consideration of, Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations on its consideration of protocol to the Constitutive Act of the African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 19 September 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8.4 of the Treaty Making Ratification Act, Cap 4D, approves the protocol to the Constitutive Act of the African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament.
Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
I think the Honorable Amina Mnyanzi, MP Malindi. Does she have a question? The Honorable Member for Malindi, Honorable Amina Nyanzi, is not here to ask her question. And then the next one is by the Honorable William Kamket, Member for Tiati. You have a question, a statement? Honorable Member for Tiati? I thought I'd seen him.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to seek the following statement. That pursuant to Standing Order number 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security regarding re-evaluation of schemes of service for appointment of chiefs and assistant chiefs. Honorable Speaker, the pivotal role played by chiefs and assistant chiefs in maintaining social cohesion, dispute resolution, and managing community dynamics cannot be overstated. However, it is worrisome, Honorable Speaker, that the appointment of these administrators has been limited through the schemes of service which were introduced by the government in 2017. Some experienced individuals, particularly in marginalized communities, who embody a repository of wisdom and possess invaluable insights into local customs, land management practices, and conflict resolution mechanisms, may not meet the minimum academic requirements for appointment to these higher positions. Because of this, Honorable Speaker, experienced individuals' reservoir of knowledge, which is indispensable for navigating the intricate challenges of pastoralists and marginalized communities, cannot be utilized. Further, Honorable Speaker, chiefs and assistant chiefs appointed to administer locations or sublocations ought to be residents of that particular area. However, due to the academic requirements, recent appointments have deviated from this essential criterion, resulting in successful candidates being posted to areas where they are not residents, and therefore leading to dissatisfaction and silent protests among the affected communities. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the Chairperson Committee, Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security on the following. Number one, whether the Ministry of Interior and National Administration could consider a review of the academic qualifications for appointment of chiefs and assistant chiefs in marginalized areas and indeed in the entire country. Number two, Madam Speaker, whether the ministry could consider experienced individuals from respective locations and sub-locations in the recruitment of chiefs and assistant chiefs on the basis of affirmative action. Honorable Speaker, let me just say one word on this, Madam Speaker, that indeed, even in the early days, a chief need not to have gone to school for you to be appointed as a chief, because that position at the ground is a very important position, and in some communities, You cannot become a chief if you do not even have more than 10 cows in your homestead. So in the circumstances, that respect that you must earn from the community disappears if you are not a person of means. It's a problem that is cutting across the country, and I urge, Honorable Speaker, that the ministry seriously considers a review of this matter, because even in matters security, where some of us come from, where there are serious security challenges, you find somebody, just because he has a C- or a C stand, has been appointed a chief and has no knowledge completely of the area. And that's some of the reasons why we have unending conflicts in the places we come from. I believe it's a problem. These are cross-cutting. I have stressed on the matter of marginalized, but I believe it's a problem which is cross-cutting. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I think I can see Honorable KJ, member for Dagoretti South. I think I'll give you a chance, Honorable Sunkuli.
Madam Speaker, I appreciate the opportunity, and I must thank the Honorable Kamket, the member for Tiati, because the issue he's raising is a serious issue. Madam Speaker, the lady seated on the seat would understand well how we came up with devolution, knowing that these national government officers were actually the precursor of devolution. The way we wanted to devolve government right to the grassroots, where representation gets to the people. And there is no other way that the government gets to connect with the ground better than chiefs, assistant chiefs, and what used to be called headmen. Having said that, Madam Speaker, I'd like to raise two issues that maybe the committee should consider when they invite the Ministry of Interior. Issue number one is that at that level of leadership, it would be so discriminative to have education qualification as something that eliminates one to be a candidate to be an assistant chief or an educator or a chief. Because we know even some of these qualifications that are being required. For example, if they required a diploma or a degree, we know that in Kenya, it is very elitist to have a diploma or a degree, in the sense that the population in terms of percentage that we have been able to take through our tertiary institutions and our universities is so small compared to the larger population that is out there. And remember, the chief represents the lowest of the lowest in our community. The second issue I'd like to raise, Madam Speaker, and I hope the committee would consider it, is another decision that was made at that ministry, where in police reforms, the administration police were withdrawn from our national government officers. The chief became so exposed that the chief is now not very effective on the ground, because when the chief had 2 administration police officers assigned to him, at least he had the power of the crown of government when he was walking around the village. Today the chief stands very exposed, even in community as they walk around. Finally, Madam Speaker, as the committee is considering this, they should also consider places like Nairobi. In a city like Nairobi, we have a very inorganic way of appointing chiefs or administrators. In fact, in Nairobi, it is so curious that even chiefs can even be transferred. Assistant chiefs can be circulated. So today you could be serving in Ganda ward, and tomorrow you are told you'll be serving in Ngara ward. How much understanding do you have of an area to be able to represent these people effectively? For example, coming from a constituency in Starehe, in the CBD, and you're taken to a ward in Rodhemeto, where you are administrating over issues like succession or land issues that you never ever encountered when you were in a cosmopolitan constituency like Starehe. So, Madam Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Kamket for such an amazing request for statement, and we shall be coming as friends of the committee to see how they will be transacting this business. Asante sana, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Sunkuli.
Madam Speaker, the request by my friend Honorable Kamket is very timely. It is not that we don't want educated chiefs, but to require that the only requirement you need is to have a C plus or a C in a situation where we know that papers can actually be faked is a very, very, very bad thing. We are experiencing this thing even in our own county of Narok, where otherwise qualified persons who are fit for purpose, are left out because they have a D. It is time now that the minister comes up with a statement to say that the qualifications for being a chief must include a much broader thing than just academic papers. And we will then get leaders who are fit for purpose and who will be able to resonate with the ground. So I support that request.
The Honorable Makilap.
Advertisements. Even the 4 that we were able to do, we did more than 3 re-advertisements. And so it is high time to say that Honorable Kamket, this is timely, and I submit. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Endebess, Honorable Dr. Pukose. I'll get to you, Honorable Abdika. Yeah.
Madam Speaker, I hear Honorable Kamget asking for review of the qualifications in marginalized areas. Madam Speaker, I think that is discrimination, because even in marginalized areas, I think for a long time we are taking advantage and demarginalizing the rest of Kenya by asking for favorism in other areas. I think that this should not be the case. Everybody deserves equal opportunities. And I think the only thing that the ministry can do is to maybe, if the qualifications assume a C, then if there is somebody with a C minus and nobody who has applied with a C, then they should take the next qualification. But issues of having that in marginalized areas will be recruiting chiefs with a minimum of C minus, I think that is not the right thing, because we have people from marginalized areas who are performing very well. Professor Jaldesa is from marginalized area, but is a professor of gynecology, and he did not come to do gynecology because his marks were low. He qualified like any other person from any other place. So I think the issue should be, if there is nobody with the qualifications of C, go to the next most qualified person, but not saying that you need now to lower the qualifications in marginalized areas. I think that should not be the case. Let's be able to give people from marginalized areas equal opportunities, just like those who are not from marginalized areas. I raise my case.
The Honorable Member for Seme, Honorable Nikal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Whereas I do support this, but in this, can I? It's on. It's on. Whereas I do support this, but we are actually ignoring an extremely important fact that we should address. If in some parts of this country, we are actually having a problem of getting people with qualifications of that level at, let's say, CSC minus, the bigger problem in those areas is really we must now look at the education system. Why is it at this time, 60 years after independence, it is still happening in those areas? So that this is something that I think should be given a time limit and then look at basically why is that happening? Because that is the bigger problem in those areas than just that the chiefs cannot be found because they don't have that qualification. It's the reason those qualifications are not there that we should be addressing. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member, Honorable Justice Kemei.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I wish to support the request for statement by Honorable Kamket to lower the academic qualifications for chiefs and their assistants. Madam Speaker, we have a pool of human resource in this country known as village managers. The majority of them are not from 4 graduates. The majority of them probably went through primary, while quite a number of them did not even go to school. But Madam Speaker, as a form of social control, they handle very intricate cases that academic qualifications may not even be able to handle. And therefore, we must give these people the opportunity to rise to positions like those of assistant chief and the chief. Additionally, Madam Speaker, there is a panel which normally interviews these chiefs and their assistants. We want to ask the ministry responsible that in those panels, let's not look at academic qualifications alone. Let us look at the administrative skills that people may possess, such that even during interviews, you can be able to tell that this person is strong in terms of providing the kind of administration required at the rural areas. Madam Speaker, I want to join Honorable Dr. Pukose that let's not make it discriminatory. Let us make it apply to all parts of this country, because we are looking for skills to administer our nation, and those skills may be with people who did not go to Form 4, but they do possess them. Madam Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Proceed, Honorable Abdi Kadir, is it?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the opportunity. Madam Speaker, I do rise to support the statement by Honorable Kamket. This has been an issue, especially in marginalized area, because it's not only qualification, but also the age is a problem. For a chief, they say it must be 35 years and must have a C. For marginalized area, somebody who had a C, it's a long time, he has gone, he has another career, but that's almost 15 years after he is through with his secondary education. So when you put C and 35, you will never get anybody with that kind of age and qualification together. For assistant chief, I think it's a C minus and also 30 years. So not only the qualifications, but also the age is a problem. Secondly, the best chiefs we used to have, and the best chiefs we have, even right now, are those with the minimum educations. Even somebody with a D minus and with a degree, or a D plus with a degree, that person has been, it's not taken, because he said the basic thing is about the secondary education qualifications. That's C. If you don't have C, even if you have masters, if you have PhD, you will be employed as a chief. So let them consider all other qualifications and age limit, so that at least they get the right people. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I think we can close with Honorable Ochieng. There seems to be a lot of interest. Okay, we can agree as long as we speak for very briefly so that other people can have opportunity. I'll give 4 other people. Yeah. Honorable Ochieng had pressed the intervention. Okay, he's not here. I'll give Professor Barto. I'll come to you, Honorable Bayu, after.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to this, this petition. Madam Speaker, we cannot be going retrogressively. We've come a long way in matters academic. And Madam Speaker, if there are regions who feel they are marginalized because their people do not meet the qualifications, Madam Speaker, I would propose that we become deliberate, and those regions to deliberately put their people to go to school to meet the qualifications. Otherwise, if we decide that for every position we look at we revise the qualification, Madam Speaker, we will be going back retrogressively. I would wish that I wouldn't support the case of Nairobi, where chiefs are transferred, because one of the qualifications is that you must be a resident, you must have been a resident for over 6 years. But for the qualifications, Madam Speaker, let us go back and take our people to school. We have been appropriating a lot of money through CDF, through infrastructure to build schools. So what are we telling us? We stop going to school because we want to be chiefs? I don't agree. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'm smiling because members of parliament do not require to have a degree. So I am amused. Honorable Mbeyu.
Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Your point of order, Honorable Kainan. What's your point of order?
Madam Speaker, will I be in order? Because this is a house of traditions. The Honorable Kamket raised a pertinent issue directed to the committee en route to a member of the executive. While we await for the response, members here have taken it upon themselves to respond to themselves, which I find unparliamentary, and we are debating. So will I be right to seek your guidance and wait for the answer from the ministry, and then that can elicit response? Otherwise, we are turning, I find it unprocedural, Madam Speaker. So will I be right to suggest that we end this debate, we wait for the response, and that will give us a platform to debate? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I think the tradition has been, and the precedent has been, that the Speaker, whenever one asks a question, makes a statement, the Speaker has allowed members to ventilate on it, because remember, even if the committee is seeking an answer, they will attach the answer so that it enriches the statement of the member. So I've exercised my discretion to allow members to support and add on to Honorable Kamket's statement. Proceed, Honorable Bayu.
Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker, niruhusu nitumie Kiswahili ndio wale machifu wa kule Pwani na Kilifi waweze kunielewa vizuri. Mheshimiwa Speaker, kila tukikaa hapa tunahimiza watoto wetu wasome. Wanafunzi wamekuja kutuangalia hapa. So tukisema machifu, masabchifu wasiwe na sawasawa na mizani ya kusoma, watoke tu ndani ya nyumba. Oyo machifu wanafanya kazi nzuri, Mheshimiwa Speaker. Mheshimiwa Kamket akisema wawe na masomo ya hali ya chini, hawa ni watu sawasawa na viongozi wengine wowote. Wanakabiliana na maswala hasa ya elimu katika location zao, mambo ya familia, mambo ya ardhi. Mheshimiwa Speaker, machifu hawa, masabchifu hawa lazima wawe na viwango vizuri vya masomo, lazima waende shule. Mheshimiwa Kamket yuko na kitita kizima cha kila mwaka wa kifedha cha pesa za basari. Mheshimiwa Speaker, wacha aregeshe machifu wake, masabchifu wake waende wasome shule, waweze kuhudumia watoto vizuri, na hatutaweka machifu ambao hawajui kusoma na kuandika waende kusikiza watoto ambao wameenda shule, wanataka kwenda shule, wazazi wenye shida ambao wameenda shule. Mambo mengi ya jamii yetu yanataka mtu ambaye amesoma. Kwa hivyo napinga swala hili la Mheshimiwa Kamket kwa machifu wakae bila masomo, waende shule. Mheshimiwa Speaker, asante.
I'll give just two more people. The honorable member from Turkana County, because I know I haven't had her speak recently.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance to add my voice on this discussion. Madam Speaker, I want to support Honorable Kamket. You know, when we have a discussion in this House about marginalization, marginalization is a fact. It is one evil that is still present in this Kenya. And if you think we lie to you people, you have a visit to the farthest north, Turkana. Have a visit to the Wajir, Garissa, and then you will understand these things. There are villages, Madam Speaker, there are villages where you cannot get a student who has finished Form 4. That is a fact. In that village, when a sub-chief is needed and there is no Form 4 leaver, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to transfer a chief from another village to this village? You are not supposed to. I think what Honorable Kamket is saying is that let us be deliberate, like the way Professor Barto was saying. When it reaches to some marginalized levels, we adjust to their level. Of course, with time, we will take our people to school. It's not our liking to be marginalized, Madam Speaker. We found ourselves there, and we are working very hard to take our people to school, Madam Speaker. But we cannot be condemned for chiefs older than us who have not gone to school, and they have to be taken as chiefs. Madam Speaker, we want to be considered as marginalized people so that our people, if they have not attained those grades and they are supposed to be chiefs, let them be chiefs for those villages. If your chiefs have degrees, well and good, well for you. For us, we have villages that a whole village has no form for liver. We are still working hard. Please give us a chance so that we become part and parcel of this Kenya. I support Honorable Kamket fully, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Okay, last I will give the Honorable Lisa Chelule, member for Nakuru.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia hii nafasi niunge mkono statement ambayo imeletwa katika floor ama katika bunge na Mheshimiwa Kapket kuhusu mambo ya chiefs. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunaelewa kwamba chief wanafanya kazi ambayo ni tofauti na kazi zingine katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Chief ni mtu ambaye huwezi kumpeleka kutoka sehemu ingine kwenda sehemu ingine. Chief sio kama daktari, wala chief sio kama pilot, chief sio kama mtendakazi yote ya serikali. Chief kazi yake ni kukaa katika sehemu anaelewa sana. Sababu ni kazi ya kufanya ni mambo ambayo inahusu wananchi. Na kwa hivyo ukimpatia nafasi chief katika sehemu yake atakwambia information kuhusu location yake ama sub location yake. Na kujua information ama kupata information haijalishi ati lazima uwe umeenda shule. Kwa hivyo nataka kusema hivi, statement ya Kamket haijasema chiefs wasisome, lakini isiwekwe iwe lazima kwamba uko na grade fulani ndio upatiwe nafasi ya kuwa chief. Because hii kazi ni kazi ambaye autoki hapo, ni kazi unafanya hapo. Itategemea chief akitaka kuendelea na masomo yake hata mpaka degree, hakuna mtu amekataza hiyo ndio itakuwa mambo mazuri kwake. Lakini isikuwe hitaji katika wakati anaomba kazi. So long as bora tu chief amekuwa na elimu ambaye inaweza kumwezesha afanye kazi yake pale nyumbani. Na hiyo kazi ni ya maana sana hata kuliko kazi yoyote. Hata ni ya maana sana kuliko wajumbe sisi tuko hapa. Hiyo kazi ya chief ni tofauti na kazi nyingine. Kwa hivyo naunga mkono, hatujasema wasiende shule, waende shule. Mheshimiwa mwenzangu kutoka Kilifi, ninaelewa kwamba Kilifi ni remote area. Ni area ingine pia ambayo wako na mashida mingi sana. Kuna shida kama Turkana, kuna shida kama Wajia, kama Mandera, ambayo hawaendi shule sababu wako na mashida mingi. Hawana maji na hata hawakai mahali moja ili wasome kuliko watu wengine, kama watu wengine. Kwa hivyo naunga mkono Kamket na chiefs, hatujasema msiendelee na masomo, endeleeni na masomo, lakini isikue mambo ya grade C isikue ni kikwazo.
Asante. The next statement by the Honorable Amina Mnyanzi, member for Malindi. You were not there earlier. You may make your statement.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the...
Hold on a minute. Honorable Rosso, I hope it's an important point of order because it's unfair to interrupt your colleague's statement. Proceed.
Very important indeed, Madam Speaker. What Honorable Kamket has raised, he has referred it to the committee. And we'll give a response in 2 weeks. But coming from a marginalized area and a pastoralist, it is his right to stand in his place to ask for that statement. But that statement should not contradict that there's free primary education, that there is CDF in all the 290 constituencies. Today, education is not compulsory, but it's almost compulsory because it's available. So when we are saying that the chiefs do not need to go to school, I think it's misleading. But what obtains today is that in areas where they do not get the right qualification, there's affirmative action. So what Honorable Kamket is asking should not be a sweeping thing. It has to be tailored to areas that are on the need basis. So we'll respond in 2 weeks, Madam Speaker.
Thank you for standing in for the chairperson of the Administration of Justice. No, Honorable Kamket, we have completed your matter. Honorable Kamket, please, you're out of order. You already made your statement. Members have responded. I think let's give the next the member for the statement. Honorable Malindi, member for Malindi, you may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable
Kamket,
Speaker.
I'm going to rule you out of order. So this goes as a first warning. So be quiet. Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the status of investigation into sexual assault allegations committed by Mr. Michael James Balantine Nobel in Malindi constituency. Honorable Speaker, there have been deeply concerning reports filed with Malindi law enforcement agencies regarding Mr. Michael James Balantine Noble, a South African national. These reports indicate that between 1st and 22nd August 2024, Mr. Michael Noble committed grave offenses against minors in Malindi. While the suspects who led the victims to him have been apprehended, Mr. Noble remains at large, evading law enforcement efforts. This incident underscores a pressing situation in Malindi, which necessitates prompt action by the government, including the issuance of a red alert for the suspect. The residents of Malindi now continue to live in a state of fear and uncertainty, with no success in capturing the suspect or identifying his whereabouts by local law enforcement agents. The gravity of the
individuals directly involved, but also disrupting the social fabric of the communities. Livelihood are being threatened, and there is an urgent need for intervention to restore peace and stability in the region. Honorable Speaker, it is on this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee of Administration and Internal Security on the following: essential insight into the current state of disputes, the underlying causes, and the measures being taken or proposed to address this urgent issue. Steps that the government has taken to ensure safety and well-being of the affected communities, including stating the frequency of inspections carried out to ensure compliance with the regulations and necessary measures against the individuals responsible for the insecurity. Plans in place to ensure that all displaced original residents who have genuine title deeds are resettled in their rightful lands, and establishment of NGSU camp in the area to contain peace. Madam Speaker, may I say that, Mr. Speaker, sir, may I say that the people living there, the people who have been chased out of those farms, are the genuine landowners with original and genuine documents, and it's a matter of urgency, because if the government delays, we are going to have dangerous fatalities. Thank you.
The Honorable Russell. The Honorable Russell.
Say something about it.
The Honorable Russell. I hope you
Speaker,
had order, the Honorable Krima, order. The Honorable Russell, you heard the statement request.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you give us 2 weeks to respond. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Krima, what did you want to say on this? Give the mic to Honorable Krima.
They are busy talking. Speaker, sorry, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want just to add a statement to give a short comment on what my colleague has just said, that this issue of people being shot in the Ndoleli area is really rampant in Meru County. It has caused a lot of harm to our people to the extent that we have lost about 20 people due to this conflict. And lastly, I lost my church chairman in this kind of an incident, and he was visiting his own lad. He was shot with a poisoned arrow, and up to date, those culprits have not been arrested, and they are known. And it's like if they're enjoying some protection, because why have they not been arrested and they are known and no police person can venture into that area, at least to quell the problem which is existing? This is a problem which should be addressed at large and without fear or favor of any quarters. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
There's the Honorable Mkata. I can't see your card here. The Honorable Kiara.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to strongly support this petition by Honorable Dan Kere. Honorable Speaker, land matters are very emotive, and especially areas where land has title deeds. Honorable Speaker, I want to state that it is the duty of the government to protect life and property of its citizens. And I want, Honorable Speaker, to propose that this matter be expedited with as fast as possible so that we don't continue losing life in the pretense that people are invading other people's land. Honorable Speaker, let this matter be taken seriously by the departmental committee and we get straight answers, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I do agree that title deeds are actually sacrosanct and that the owners of conflicts do arise, and it is incumbent on the government to ensure that such conflicts are resolved, and also the issue of the title deeds, what they call titles in the air, titles, you have the title and somebody else has the land, has to be also resolved because this is vitally important. The conflicts will not end purely because you own a title while somebody else has lived on that land for as long as time immemorial.
Thank you.
What needs to be done is resolve the problem in one way or the other so that the...
Honorable Speaker, the status of deployment of multi-agency teams to address the deplorable state in the affected areas. Honorable Speaker, on 6th August 2024, Baringo County experienced heavy rains leading to a devastating landslide that struck the village of Kapkombe and Kapchebokiel, Kasit sublocation, Kabartonjo Division, Baringo North Sub-County. The incident claimed 5 lives, which were later retrieved by multi-agency response team. The landslide caused extensive destruction to homes, farmland, and critical infrastructure, including roads, leaving parts of the region inaccessible. Several families were displaced, crops destroyed, and access to basic services disrupted, exacerbating the challenges already faced by the affected communities. Honorable Speaker, in Kasisit sublocation, the landslide swept away 3 homesteads, living on the very steep land on the edges of Simo Forest, and deaths of 4 persons were recorded. While in Kapkombe sublocation, the landslide swept away 1 homestead and death of 1 person as follows: Sibora Tungo Chebon, Gladys Chepkangor, 38 years old, Evans Simotuo Katamei, Hilary Kabutei, Jonathan Chelimo Katamei. A prompt and coordinated response was initiated following the incident. The multi-agency team consisted of 1, Red Cross Society, which was the lead agency on rescue and relief operation, Baringo County Government, Department of Disaster Risk Management, that coordinated logistics and disaster management. Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, that provided security, logistics, and disaster management. And 4, local leadership, that included the Deputy Governor, County Commissioner, members of County Assembly, and other officials. Honorable Speaker, the key actions undertaken by the response team on the 6th of August 2024 led the first responders comprising of Ngao, these are chiefs, and the residents managed to rescue the following persons: Margaret Rotich, Maureen Jebkoech Jebi, a Form 1 student from Tirindoni Primary School, Mercy Jelimo Chebi, grade 7 people at Kisit Primary School, and Vincent Chemaiwa Chebi, Form 2 students at Kapche Kulel Secondary School. On 7th August 2024, early morning, the Baringo CSIC members mobilized rescue team, which were led by the National Police Service officers from Kabartonjo and Kenya Red Cross from Baringo branch, county government officers, disaster committee members to the scene of the landslide in Kapkombe and Kasisit. The rescue team retrieved the bodies of Zibora Tungo Chebon in Kapkombe and Gladys Chepkangor and Evans Simotuo Katamei in Kasisit from the landslide. Later, the dismembered body of Hilary Kabutei was retrieved downstream. The search operation was suspended after fall of darkness till the following day on 8 August 2024, when the body of Jonathan Chelimo Katamei was retrieved downstream. The response team successfully recovered the bodies of all 5 victims from the landslide site. The team promptly evacuated families residing near unstable areas to temporarily shelter at Kasisit Primary School to prevent further casualties until the rain subsided. Residents of landslide-prone areas were advised to monitor for signs of imminent danger, such as deep cracks or soil movement. Public announcements were made urging residents to report any observation to local.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you could summarize.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, well guided. The steps that the government has taken to ensure that all affected families are facilitated with items such as food, clothing, medication, and shelter. Honorable Speaker, there was the immediate humanitarian assistance that involved immediate relief supplies, including foodstuffs, medication, blanket mattresses, and mosquito nets. Second was the shelter support and also burial assistance by the government. There was also plans to reconstruct or repair the damaged roads and other critical infrastructure. The roads that were affected include Kasayo, Tenges, South, Society Road, Kabarnet, Kabartonjo, Kapsaraman Road, Sigotuo, Tabagon, Kapkombe, Tirimion, Kapkiai, Ingetimoi Girls Secondary School, Sacho Bakwanin Road. This, Honorable Speaker, with the support of county government in collaboration with KERA, they had initiated plans to reconstruct the damaged roads. Assessment teams were also deployed to evaluate damage to other public utilities, including water supply systems. Honorable Speaker, the government is committed to implementing sustainable solutions to prevent further and future disasters and enhance the resilience of communities in landslide-prone areas through reforestation, implementing watershed management programs, engineering solutions such as retaining walls, and regular geological surveys and risk management is recommended to identify and monitor landslide-prone zones. Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Honorable McClark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two to say. One, I want to thank the Ministry for Interior, through the Minister for Internal Security, for their quick response during that time. Mr. Speaker, remember, today we are in September 19. This incident happened in August. So you can look at the time that they take to respond to an emergency issue. However, Mr. Speaker, since I've been to the ground, I want to thank them for the efforts that the government has done. In fact, Mr. Speaker, other than future solution, the government, national government in particular, were actually proactive and they were able to provide food to the victims who were actually living in Kasese Primary School for almost a month, where I visited twice and even attended the funeral. And the government donated several relief food, not only to the people who were in Kasese and Kapkombe, but also in Kapkwang areas of Baringo North that were terribly affected, despite the fact that there was no fatalities. But in terms of landmass and crops which were destroyed, Mr. Speaker. So I can say the government response was very good, Mr. Speaker. And even when we had a meeting with the President, he supported the families during the period. His Excellency President William Ruto, together with the Minister, actually supported us to ensure that these families are actually supported, will actually be able to restore their livelihoods. Mr. Speaker, the only thing that going forward, the infrastructure, especially power, electricity and water in Gimoy area of Bartolimo and the Tuken Hills are still having a challenge, which I can actually pursue further to the relevant ministries, because that may not be directly through the Ministry for Interior. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, the 35 people who are actually living in dangerous areas, Mr. Speaker, we are pursuing what is called land exchange with the Ministry of Environment and Forestry so that we resettle these people elsewhere so that we convert the land where they have been living, where it is prone to landslides, we convert it to forest. And the people can be compensated using the other stable forest area, Mr. Speaker, which I think, again, I will be able to follow with the respective ministries so that the people of Baringo North that are actually been suffering because of landslides in terms of their crops, their homesteads, are actually able to get justice, Mr. Speaker, in Kenya. With that, Mr. Speaker, I am satisfied with all matters related to Ministry of Interior, and I want to thank them for a quick response during that time.
Thank you. Thank you. The next to be answered would be by the Committee on Agriculture and Livestock. But what is also order, Honorable Keenan?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I sought a statement from the same committee regarding the brazen and cowardly abduction and detention without trial of Honorable Yusuf Hussein, MCA Dela Elders constituency. And yet I can see this able vice chairman of the security and administration seems to be not prepared. Can you tell us about the answer?
Honorable Russell, this was a commitment made yesterday, and you're behaving as if you didn't even make it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think yesterday we were in the House, and Honorable Kainan raised a fundamental issue on human rights violation of the law, and what is considered unprocedural. Indeed, the committee was seized of the matter, and we were able to talk to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, the Director of Criminal Investigation. And both of them, what we told them is that we want them to give us answers on the whereabouts of the honorable member from Eldas in Wajir. The only thing that was missing from the House is we did not have the signed statement from the Speaker. But what the two, the Cabinet Secretary and the DCI have promised us is they are going to work on the matter and to look for the missing person. And so far, that is what we can report to the House. And they just told us, give us time, but we have had you. That is what we want to report back to the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, none. Mr. Speaker, this House, this is an August House. And we all understand the definition and meaning of an August House. You also, as a seasoned lawyer, you also understand what constitutes an emergency response. Here is the life of not only an ordinary citizen, but a leader who has been abducted on 13th, 7 days ago. And here we have our colleague who has just responded callously, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we need to trust and bring back the glory of this House, Mr. Speaker. We are losing our stature, Mr. Speaker, and the flair of that entitlement of being an August House. That is why the Senate is doing very well, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, will I be right to suggest that even those electorates, those people, those citizens on the ground, when they see such a callous response, Mr. Speaker, and you understand, Mr. Speaker, the rights, we are not talking about an ordinary citizen. Every Kenyan has the right to be protected. But here is the whereabouts of an elected leader, Mr. Speaker. The response is not only unconstitutional, Mr. Speaker. The abduction is unconstitutional. The response is clearly demonstrates lack of responsiveness, Mr. Speaker. Will I be right, Mr. Speaker? You can see today they are not even saying, can I request, can you please ask colleagues here to consult in law tones?
They have heard you. Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of this elected leader. And I want all of us as elected leaders, as politicians, to be conscious of what we go through, Mr. Speaker. This is an elected leader, a family man, a Kenyan citizen. He has been missing, he has been abducted. It is on record, Mr. Speaker, from Friday last week. To date, there is yet to be an official response from the government or those who are tasked with this. We have asked our colleagues, who are the interluders between Parliament and the executive. The response that we have got from the Vice Chair right now does not have a timeline. So will I be right, Mr. Speaker, through you, to ask the chair of this committee to bring a response, a written response, on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. without fail, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Russell, you've listened to Member of Elders, and from where I sit, this can't be handled in the casual manner that the committee wants to handle it. And I wouldn't want you to say anything on this matter, but I'll order that on Tuesday, when the House next sits, you bring to this House a comprehensive answer on the issue raised yesterday. And I would request that the committee takes this matter with the seriousness that it deserves.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I really do not want to say much based on your ruling. The only thing I want to say is the committee is serious about lives of Kenyans. He is from the constituency of Honorable Kainan, but he could have as well come from my constituency or your constituency. That is how important those lives are. But I am well guided. I will pursue the CS Interior to give us a response by that time. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Note also that there's more than one question before your committee dealing with abductions and its appearances, not just this one. And that's why I think it's important that the committee takes these matters more seriously. Before we go to the next response, and honorable members, it used to be a tradition that when you're welcoming students to come here, when you call their names of their schools, you thump your feet so that they recognize that they are here. So we have students from the Caroline School, Kabete constituency, Kiambu. Then you have students from St. Joseph Roman Catholic, Webuye East from Mugoma County. And we've got students from Kiamuturi Secondary School, Mathioya, Murang'a County. They are seated in the public gallery and they are welcome to follow proceedings this afternoon. Next is the Honorable Chairperson for Agriculture and Livestock. Honorable Egon, you are sitting in for the chairperson. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Honorable Speaker. The first statement is by Honorable Martha Wangari, as MP Gilgil, regarding the distribution of organic fertilizers, GPC brand, to farmers across the country.
Just hold on. Is a member for Gilgil in the House? No. And the member for West Pokot? Yeah. I would suggest you go on with the response to the statement by the member for West Pokot, then Rael Kasiwai, if you have it.
Yes, Chair.
Proceed with that one, not the one you just mentioned.
Yes, I'm informed that the member has received the response via digital means, and now I'm going to statement number 2, which is by Rael Kasiwai, Honorable Member, on critical shortages of maize seed in the North Rift region. And the report is as follows. On the current maize seed shortage situation in the country, maize is the national staple food in Kenya, hence maize has been identified as priority value chain by the Kenya Kwanza government. The government push on implementation of better plan on agricultural transformation has deliberately focused on initiatives and plans to increase the national production of maize in the pursuit of addressing food security. Due to the government interventions geared towards increasing production of maize, many farmers have been registered and supported to engage in maize farming. The national government initiative, such as the subsidized fertilizer program to enhance the production, have triggered increased demand for maize seed among other types of seed. The national maize seed requirement for the 2024 long rain period is 40,000 metric tons. The seed stock supplied by seed companies for the period is 35,833,900 metric tons. There is a maize seed deficit of approximately 5 million kilos for the period 2024 long rain season. The 35,833,900 kilos of maize seed can approximately be planted on 3.5 million acres of land against the government target of 4 million acres. The North Rift region is the main maize growing zone in Kenya. The region has also experienced shortage of maize seed. However, Kenya Seed Company has established distribution networks to enhance availability and access of maize seed by farmers. The seed has registered about 400 seed distributors across the North Rift. However, supply of maize seed to the distributors has been rationed because some of them are holding and selling the seed to farmers at exorbitant prices. This year's distribution of maize seed to North Rift region has surpassed last year's by more than 400 metric tons. What then the measures that have been put in place by the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development and the Kenya Seed Company to deal with the maize seed shortage crisis and ensure timely and equitable access to quality seed for the farmers? Number one, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, in collaboration with various stakeholders, has held forums to analyze the maize seed sector and advise the government accordingly. Through these forums, the ministry has been able to align the maize seed production figures to the better agenda programs. The government has put in place measures to ensure the limited available maize stocks is not exported to safeguard seed requirement in the year 2024. Number three, the maize seed industry has initiated rapid result initiative approach in pursuit of addressing shortage. Under this approach, 37,500 acres of land are required for the maize seed production. Kenya Seed Company has dedicated 33,000 acres of land for maize seed production and meet the demand for the 2025 season. Kenya Seed Company has been tasked to scout for land and advise the government for facilitation. Number four, the government is on the process of identification of suitable land held by the public institution for the seed maize production in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture and relevant stakeholders to increase seed production from the current target of 27 million kilos to 49 million kilos in 2025. Due to low, number five is due to low seed producer price, growers contracted by pulled away from seed production in 2022-2023. However, Kenya Seed has reviewed upwards the contracted seed growers' prices to motivate them to allocate more land to seed maize production in 2024. Number five, Kenya Seed Company has increased and enhanced maize seed varieties through targeted research as per the ecological zones. And number six, finally, Kenya Seed is working with National Irrigation Board to grow seeds in various suitable regions to increase production and enhance access to seeds. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, I'm calling on Honorable Kasiwai. Kasiwai. Okay, Madam, continue.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the Chair for the response and good report by explaining the factors that contributed to the maize shortage in the North Rift region. Though the answer is coming late, maybe it is going to help us in the next planting season. However, Mr. Speaker, my concern regards the 400 registered seed distributors in the North Rift region who are holding the maize seeds to farmers and they are selling to the farmers at the exorbitant prices. So I'm wondering what is the ministry doing by not punishing such distributors, because they hold these maize seeds in their stores and sell them to the farmers at a high price. So that one, I'm still not satisfied with the answer. Thanks.
Proceed, Chair. You want to weigh in again?
Well, there are 400 certified distributors, seed distributors across North Rift that are supplying certified seeds. And we've noted that they are actually selling these seeds to farmers at exorbitant prices. And that is why the ministry is coming in to be able to curb that malpractice in the market, and the ministry is taking proper measures to ensure that prices are regulated as per advice, or as per the market indicated price of the seed, so that unscrupulous sellers does not take advantage of the farmers.
Are you satisfied, Madam Kasiwai? Proceed.
I'm waiting to see that happening, Speaker. Thank you.
There being no other interest on this, I'll call on the Honorable Irene Mayaka. Proceed. Yeah? Of sports, yes. This is sports and culture. Irene Mayaka needs her statement on sports and culture. The chair of the sports and culture, or the representative.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On Wednesday, 24th July 2024, during the afternoon sitting, Honorable Irene Mayaka MP requested for a statement regarding the position of Kenya national under 2017 football team. Specifically, the member sought a response to the following two issues. One, plans that the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts, in consultation with the Ministry of Education, has made to ensure that the players have the opportunity to take part, to take their exams at a time that does not conflict with their participation in the World Cup, and two, the measures being taken by the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts, and other stakeholders, including FIFA, and ensure that the team goes back to the camp for preparation. Honorable Speaker, I've received the comprehensive response from the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, which I've shared with the honorable member, but I beg to read the key parts of the report and the table the same. Plans that the ministry has: the junior starlets secured an impressive 3-0 victory against Ethiopia, allowing Kenya to advance with a 3-0 aggregate score. The fourth and the final round of the qualifiers saw the junior starlets face Burundi in the first leg, once again in Addis Ababa. Kenya dominated with another 3-0 win, showcasing their ability to perform under pressure. The second leg, played in Nairobi, resulted in a 2-0 victory for Kenya, culminating in a 5-0 aggregate win and securing their place in the World Cup. Concerning making sure that the players have opportunity to take their exams, Mr. Speaker, as per the Kenya National Examination Policy of handling hardship cases for affecting cadres sitting in national examinations, the Council will liaise with the center managers of the affected 6 secondary schools and make appropriate arrangements within the examination period for administration of the 2024 KCE papers that clashes with the World Cup fixtures for the Kenyan team. Further, Kenya National Examination wishes to bring to your attention that there will be no national assessment at grade 8 in October 2024, and thus the grade 8 learner in the team is not affected by the World Cup schedule. About the preparation for the World Cup, the team has developed a comprehensive preparation plan focusing on both physical readiness and strategic refinement in anticipation of the FIFA World Cup. The plan is as follows, and I think the Honorable has the schedule, but despite this plan, some junior starlet players are candidates awaiting the national exams. To address this, the Federation wrote to the Ministry of Sports. The Ministry wrote to the Kenya National Examination Council with a copy to the Ministry of Education requesting for special arrangements for the 8 players to undertake the Kenya KCSE and grade 8 examinations. Copies are attached and the Honorable Member has the same. The Ministry is consulting with the Ministry of Education to ensure that the players not only participate in the World Cup, but also sit for their national examinations through a special arrangement. All the necessary preparations are in place for the team to start their residential local camp, which started as early as 18th August, all the way to the World Cup on 1st of October. The member has been given a schedule and the roadmap for the same. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, let me take the opportunity to thank the Chair of Sports Committee, the Honorable Dan Wanyama, because together with his team, despite the fact that we were on recess, and the fact that this matter was actually urgent, they did ensure that we got the appropriate responses. And Honorable Speaker, I'm a very happy person now because yesterday, and she has just walked in together with the Honorable Elachi, we were able to witness the official flag-off of the Harambee Starlets under 17, who today morning have proceeded to Spain for 10 days practice before they then go to the Dominican. And we just want to say that we are grateful to the Ministry of Sports, the Ministry of Education, for allowing these girls, especially the 6 who were to sit for KCSE during the World Cup, for allowing them to be able to sit for these exams when they come back to the country. Secondly, for the support that they've managed to get from the ministries and also from the presidency. And thirdly, to also wish our young girls the very best, because, Honorable Speaker, for the first time in Kenya, we will have a team representing Kenya in soccer in the World Cup. And it is the young girls of under 17 that have actually taken us to the World Cup. So all the best to the team. And I want to make special mention to the coach, Mildred Cheche, and the young captain who is called Elizabeth, for their leadership to the team. And I really hope that the rest of this house will join me in wishing our young starlets the very best as they carry the flag of Kenya in Spain and in Dominican later in October. So I thank you, and thank you, Chair, for your dedication to have this responded to.
Fair enough. I think you're not seeking any more clarification, and we are safe to go to the next statement. The Honorable Kainan has a statement to make on behalf of the House Business Committee. Proceed, Honorable Kainan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to make a statement on behalf of the House Business Committee. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2A, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 17th September, to prioritize business for consideration during the week. Honorable Speaker, I wish to take this opportunity to welcome members back to the House after the just concluded short recess. As we reflect on what has been achieved, I wish to point out that our mission is far from over. We still have a significant number of legislative proposals, bills, statutory instruments, and reports that most certainly need our keen attention. I therefore urge members to rise to the occasion when the business is being presented before the House and remain diligent in its consideration. Honorable Speaker, with regard to the business for Tuesday next week, the House is expected to consider the second reading of the Equalization Fund Administration Bill, Senate Bill number 14 of 2023, and Kenya National Library Services Bill 2023, if not concluded today. Additionally, Honorable Speaker, debate will also be undertaken on the following motions, should they not be concluded today. 1, report on the consideration of the Consolidated Fund Services expenditure for the supplementary estimates 1 for the financial year 2024-2025. 2, report on consideration of public petition on funds spent contrary to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution. 3, report on the implementation status of reports on petitions and resolutions passed by the House. 4, report on the alleged unfair trade practices by foreign investors in Kenya. 5, second reading on employment diversity audit in public institutions. 6, report on the extraordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament, PAP. 7, consideration of reports on financial statements of the state corporations, Nyanza region. 8, ratification of the protocol to Constitutive Act of the African Union relating to the Pan-African Parliament. And 9, consideration of Sessional Paper 5 of 2023 on the National Policy on Labor Migration. Honorable Speaker, in accordance with the provision of Standing Order 42A5 and 6, I wish to convey that the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry is scheduled to appear before the House on the afternoon of Wednesday, 25th September 2024, to respond to the following questions. Question 1, question number 304 of 2023 by Honorable Member for Alego Usonga, the Honorable Samuel Atandi, MP, regarding the issuing of licenses by National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA. 2, question number 029 of 2024 by Member of Maragua, the Honorable Mary Wambua, MP, regarding the landfill project in Maragua constituency. 3, question number 105 of 2024 by the Member for Jibalungu, the Honorable Victor Koech, MP, regarding the presence of Lalela Company Limited and Naratoi Company Limited conducting large-scale irrigation-based farming. 4, question number 106 of 2024 by a Member for Westlands, the Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi, regarding depletion of rivers and measures for sustaining riparian areas. And 5, question 107 of 2024 by a Member for Nakuru Town, the Honorable Lisa Chelule, MP, regarding wetlands and catchment areas. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee will reconvene on Tuesday, 24th September 2024 to schedule business for the rest of that week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Thank you on behalf of the Leader of Majority, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Fair enough. Before we go to the next order, I wish to recognize the presence of students or pupils from Nzouni Comprehensive School, Mwingi Central in Kitui County. Is there any member of parliament in here from Kitui who would want to say a word or two to motivate these young Kenyans who have come to see how our parliament works? Yes, proceed, the Honorable KJ. We're welcoming the students. Proceed and welcome the students. The chair has already welcomed them, but of course you can
Thank you very much,
weigh in
Mr.
on
Speaker.
that, and also, as a young man and as a youth, you can, and as a legislator, you have some wise words for these young people. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
And it might be lost to many how I would be having any connections to the former Eastern Province. But let me declare my interest that my birth mother, Hannah Ndindi Motiso, actually hails from what was the larger Machakos County then, which is now divided into Makueni and Machakos County. And it is amazing to have a whole contingent of young people joining us here in Parliament. And I'd like to welcome the students to the 13th Parliament of the nation of Kenya and let them know that this is the house that was created by Article 95 and 96 of our Constitution. And to the students, I say to them that what they see here is the plenary of a National Assembly of members who represent constituencies from every corner of this country, and they are here to discuss, as the Constitution provides, to discuss and resolve all matters that concern Kenyans. So issues to do with education, issues to do with their plight, issues to do with their welfare, and everything else that concerns a Kenyan is canvassed on the floor of this house, and resolutions emerge, deliberations are made, we pass laws, we pass motions here, and all these are because of what they read on the banner that is at the door that we see on, as we enter, that says that we are here for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. So I would like to ask all the other members of Parliament to join me in welcoming the learners who are seated in the gallery. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Honorable Basil from the larger Kitui.
Thank you.
You come from Machakos?
Yes, Machakos County, but I can welcome them just. We have the Kitui Member of Parliament there, from Kitui County, Honorable Nzengu. But to add on what Honorable...
Take a minute and then we'll give 2 minutes to Honorable Nzengu and proceed on with the other substantive business.
Yes, I would say that for the students, although I can't see from where I am, I would say welcome so much to Parliament. We all went through the same
Go
route.
to a place where they can see you. Go there so that they know who you are. And they also are able to see the screen, but at the same time go somewhere.
I'm also representing the Gen Zs in Parliament. So for the young students, karibuni sana. This is the August House, the 13th Parliament. I represent Yatta constituency. And I would say, don't feel like you are so far from being here. We all went through the same process. At the time when we came here, we used to think whether one time we'll find ourselves here in this house. So you are on the right path. Just put efforts and commit, and one day you'll be with us here. Thank you, and karibu sana.
Honorable Nzengu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to welcome the students from Mwingi Central to the 13th Parliament. I want to tell them that congratulations for making it to this place. And I just want to encourage you that, in 1988, I was a Class 8 student, and the transition from primary to secondary, the period that is in between, I used to come in that public gallery and watch the likes of Martin Chikuku debate. And so where you are is a nice place. Not every student makes it there. So you shouldn't be encouraged that one day you could also represent Mwingi Central. I know Honorable Mulyungi would have loved to be here, but because of commitments, I take the responsibility to really congratulate you and welcome here as Member of Parliament for Mwingi North. Karibuni sana.
Fair enough. Let's go to the next order.
Order number 8, the Mang Beans Bill, Senate Bill number 13 of 2022, second reading. Mover to reply.
Where is the mover? Proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank members who contributed to the bill, to the debate on the bill. And I want to say that particularly I want to thank the chair of Committee on Agriculture, who took quite a lot of time to go through and elaborate the advantages of the bill. And I also want to urge members that I know most members didn't get an opportunity to interact with the bill, but the bill is a nice bill, contrary to the notion that quite a number of people think that farmers will have to register or will have to pay to farm mung bean, which is not true. What we are saying in the bill is that we want farmers to be registered at the county level so that when the county is planning for resources to support agriculture, the county knows exactly how many farmers are going to be involved, what kind of a yield are we expecting, so that even in procuring farm inputs and support to the farmers, there is a target, so that we don't leave it open to just whoever wants to do farming and does not register. Then we may have a lot of pressure on the actual support that we are envisaging in this bill. The other thing is that some cartels have also misled the Kenyan community, that we are saying that for you to trade for you to plant mung beans, which is ndengu, in other words, you will have to pay. Contrary to that, Mr. Speaker, we are saying that we are trying to remove the middlemen who are operating in between. When the farmers are planting, during the planting season, for example, you find that the price of ndengu is about 200 per kilogram. But when they harvest, the price is forced by some cartels to about 40 or even 30. So what we are trying to do is to protect the farmers from exploitation by middlemen. And we are proposing that the farmers will be then formed like forms of cooperative, and we are telling the counties that they will now be by law required to do the marketing, so that we don't leave the farmers on their own, just like any other cash crop, Mr. Speaker. So I just wanted to clarify that some people have misunderstood the bill, and there is also the claim that it has not been subjected to public participation. But I think because it probably will still have to go to the committee, because I don't think it was anyway, I didn't see the report from the committee, then maybe it's going to be then taken back to the committee, and then the committee can do the public participation that some members have voiced concern. But Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply. Thank you.
We're not going to put the question on that. The question on the same is deferred to another appropriate date in the future. The chair will determine that. So in the meantime, next order.
Order number 9, motion, enhancing reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms, resumption of debate.
This debate was moved and seconded. Now we have anybody who wants to contribute. The Honorable Moses Kirima, are you on the screen because you want to contribute on this motion, or it was put in earlier for other reasons?
Yes,
okay. How about the Honorable Beatrice Elachi? Proceed. This is the motion on the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know I was waiting to get a copy, but I'll proceed by appreciating, first of all, that within this government, this is a government that appreciated that it is important for us to go digital. And I know when you look at most of the work, even the president himself, you'll find him always on a digital platform using his iPad and all that. And I think as we now look at digitizing our business in Parliament, which we have sort of semi-done it, Mr. Speaker, it is important for us to ask ourselves whether we want to continue to have it semi or we want to fully, because you'll always find us struggling also even looking for the papers. Today we were just talking in the Committee of Services, Mr. Speaker, And one of the things we were asking ourselves when we were doing the Bunge Towers, why is it that we did not digitize nearly everything there? That today we are still waiting for each other on a committee, trying to wait these ones to come out, instead of having a digital platform where it shows even on the screen that we are about to finish business and the next committee that is about to occupy this space is a committee called Labor and Protection or whatever. But then it gives the committee time for planning, it gives the committee efficiency so that you don't also take too long. And this is just an example I'm giving. And so, Mr. Speaker, there are many things that we need to ask ourselves. And I know this is the House that presents all the laws that we have in the country. And we are pushing ourselves even to go now more in our constituency to be digitized fully. And if that is the concern, and if we want to be very clear in open government partnerships, and you know that we were with you one time in a meeting, that if you want to have transparency and efficiency, it is good to use the different digital apps that can create that efficiency. And so for Parliament, there are a few things that we also find very interesting that we have to really push. And I'll tell you, in the services sector, in the way we look at our HR, many things, Mr. Speaker, that we need to question and have good answers from every department that we have. Today, if we were fully digitized, Mr. Speaker, even you won't be wondering why is it that you don't have to know how many staffs you have in the whole of this parliament. Any member of parliament asked, I doubt whether they will even know the number of staff we have. But if it is a digitized platform, people even get to know when they are about to retire. It gives you a way of planning. It gives you, and that is what all civil servants are doing now. So for us, we have to really come out the way we go. You have to sign for this. These are some of the things, if we want, even a member could be, you can just receive. We have the iPad, so we are able to receive, even if I just click on my portal. I'm able to know I have been in Bunge 3 times in this week. I have gone to my committees. I have missed this. If we have a system that helps, it will be a system that will really guide as we move forward. So as much as we are in the 13th Parliament, we must ensure all these papers we are photocopying must now be a past. We have to really ask ourselves, and I'm hoping Parliamentary Service Commission will also help us in that, but they also have to look at the new tower and try and bring in that exemplary example they want to tell us. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support.
The Honorable Kipsanai Adam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion on enhancing on reporting on social media. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, the world of today is run through technology. And Kenya being one of the countries that is ahead of, in terms of technology in Africa, this is the only way that can help us to grow our economy and create so many opportunities. Mr. Speaker, back to enhancing on reporting, especially on parliamentary work. This work, Mr. Speaker, will help to showcase work done by members of parliament. Mr. Speaker, members of parliament, apart from contributing in this plenary, are doing a lot of work, especially during committee work. But because we are only using the traditional way of reporting, that is the televised reporting, many people at the grassroots level are not able actually to follow what members of parliament are doing at that particular time. And this one has become a problem. You can remember, Mr. Speaker, the other day when Kenya lost a very good bill, the finance bill, because of lack of communication. This was majorly contributed because when you listen to many Kenyans, they used to say that we were not told the contents of this bill because we only depend on what the media, especially the mainstream media, is reporting. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, is that it gives real-time information. If we use social media platforms like the Facebook, the Twitter, and everything, a Kenyan who is not supposed to be glued on a television can get to know what is happening in this house, and maybe he or she can give feedback on how it can help members in delivering their work. Mr. Speaker, members can also get direct feedback. You know, in this country, sometimes we have a very, very educated young generation. Some of them call themselves Gen Zs, and they have very, very important points and very important input that can help our country to grow. So if we enhance such platforms, it can help us to have a one country that we bring together all the thoughts and ideas from members of our public. Mr. Speaker, as I wind up, is that members of parliament here, we are around 400 here. And if we can enhance the social media reporting, whereby a member of parliament like me from Keyo North, I can be able to see what is happening in Madeira, in the other sides of Ugunja, and that one can help us in terms of challenging ourselves in economic growth and also development in our respective constituencies. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, is that we must enhance this way of technology because it saves time, it cuts costs in terms of paperwork, and also time in delivering in our mandate. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge maybe Parliamentary Service Commission that we support, especially the Committee on Broadcasting and Library Services, on implementing its recommendation. Today we are here, but we are still using around 80% of our transmission using KBC. But there is a young person in the upcountry. People are in universities. They want to know what is happening, and they want real-time information. So this young person will not be able to stay there, wait for some 9 p.m. news to be broadcast. Perhaps they will capture 1 or 2 members, but they will not get what is happening in the entire house. I therefore support the motion, and I say to the committee, that is a good work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Naomi Wako, MP Marsabit.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to add my voice to this very important debate on enhancing reporting of parliamentary business online platforms. Honorable Speaker, we know very well during COVID time, we were forced to use most of the time to use online meetings, to have online meetings, and also conduct our businesses online. That really helped us and saved the situation. Today, the world is moving very fast, and some of us are still analog, but many people are digital. And that is why we need to move as members of parliament so that most of our businesses can be transacted through online platform. Honorable Speaker, we know again when we have our committee meetings where members deal with issues that affect our people at the grassroots level, when the different committees handle different matters that really touches on the lives of Kenyans, a lot of our debate or our discussions are not covered. But when this happens, then our people will be able to follow the progress and see even some of the things that we discuss at the national level on their behalf. Today we might say that the people in the villages have no time or have no TVs, but you'll be surprised even in the far north, everybody knows what happens, even in America today. So it is high time for us to approve this and go online in terms of our businesses so that our people can be educated through our debates, through our deliberations, And they can also see the resolutions we make as they wait for the different state departments to take action and also take the services to them. And with those few remarks, I support this. Thank you.
MP Yatta, followed by the MP for the Greater South, and Honorable John Kiragu of Limuru after the MP for the Greater South. Proceed, MP for Yatta.
MP Yatta, yes, Basil. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor, and allow me to thank the Chair for Parliamentary Committee for Broadcasting and Library for bringing this motion. Truly, Mr. Speaker, we're in the exponential age, that is technology age. Today, everyone is Instagram, Twitter, and many other platforms. So ideally, Mr. Speaker, by having this motion, it means majority of our people will be able to access information online. Mr. Speaker, very importantly, through this motion, we'll make ourselves more transparent and make people understand what Parliament does very well. Mr. Speaker, this is going to enhance accountability because our people will be able to access information online, Mr. Speaker. Importantly, Mr. Speaker, through online platform, Mr. Speaker, our people and our citizens will be able to connect very well with the Parliament because today, as we speak, many of our people, particularly people who are not in the house or who are not very much able to read or watch media, are not able to access. Someone who is also looking at my categorization, a millennial, and someone who fits well within the line or within, so that we don't discriminate people contrary to Article 10 of the Constitution, which encourages for inclusivity when it comes to governance, including information sharing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, I support.
The Honorable MP for the Greater South.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. And communicators tell us that if you do not tell your story the way you would want to tell it, someone will tell your story the way you would not want it to be told. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, I do stand to support this report on enhancing the reporting on parliamentary business on online platforms, Mr. Speaker. And I'm informed by Article 118 of the Constitution that says that parliamentary business, Mr. Speaker, must be open and the proceedings of Parliament, whether they're in plenary or committee, must be done in public. And so, Mr. Speaker, if the world is moving towards newer methods of communicating, then Parliament is moving in the right direction by onboarding its communication to the online platforms. Mr. Speaker, this gives Parliament an opportunity for public participation. And I see my very good friend, the Honorable George Koimburi, in the House. And he, just as I know, we both know the dangers that Parliament runs into when we do not communicate our story the way we would. As we witnessed during the finance bill, Mr. Speaker, whereby some issues that had been canvassed outside this House, which were not in the bill, ended up becoming an issue that was a matter of life and death. Mr. Speaker, the failure here was not on any member who said yes or no. There was a big failure on how we communicated as Parliament. In communication, we say that the way to communicate is that there is a message, there is a channel, and there is a receiver, and then there is a mechanism loop to ensure that the receiver has received the message so that if the message is not correct, it can be corrected so that you communicate effectively. As it is, Mr. Speaker, Parliament is speaking in platforms where Kenyans are not, and Kenyans are speaking in spaces where Parliament is not at. That is why today Parliament is one of the biggest punching bags. It's a boogeyman of this country. Mr. Speaker, this limited visibility that Parliament has been enjoying is not favorable for any member of Parliament. Even if Parliament seems so unpopular, I can tell you the ladies and gentlemen seated in this House are actually very popular in their constituencies. Otherwise, they would not be here. So it means that Parliament needs to reorganize the way it is engaging the different publics to give them the right information so that the popularity that these members have on the ground can be translated to the institution of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I went through this report with a fine-tooth comb, and I saw that it is recommending for us to review the existing platforms of Parliament. It is recommending for us to develop guidelines that will allow for us to have even communication officers in our different constituencies so that they can feed into the content generation of the news that Parliament will be putting out there. I saw this report recommending something critical, Mr. Speaker. It is recommending that our Parliament must invest in communication. Mr. Speaker, communication is investing in a bank of goodwill. And you invest in this bank of goodwill in fair weather. What the wise man says, the white man says that you make your hay while the sun shines. In the good times, using communication, you invest in this bank of goodwill because there's a time you will be in a situation where you're not in goodwill with people. And that is when you start withdrawing from the bank of goodwill. Why this Parliament went into such attack is because we had not invested into this bank of goodwill. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the last point I would like to make is that even as we are onboarding our communication onto new platforms, let us be alive to the realities of the new world. Things called cyber crimes, cyber attacks, all these are realities that exist in the world that we want to import our thing into. So, Mr. Speaker, the recommendation I make is that even as we are thinking about onboarding to other proprietary existing platforms, like have been named here, Kenya should also think about making its own Facebook, its own TikTok, its own Twitter, so that we own this content and we also own the platforms that exist, because we know the danger that there is in putting our information out there in platforms that we do not own. Parliament is capable of developing its own digital platform and digital.
You can have an additional 1 minute. Yes, so that
Mr. Speaker, you are very kind, and I do appreciate this. The point I was making is that information is power. We are in what is being referred to as the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution shall be fueled by data. And when you generate data, today data becomes a currency. So the data that we generate with the content that we are putting on these new online platforms should be content that we are able to manage from the beginning to the end. And that is why I request that beyond just onboarding onto existing international, multinational, big tech platforms, Parliament should also consider building its own platforms that we can own so that we can secure our information away from the people who have bad intents against this institution. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
MP for Limuru, John Kiragu. Please give the mic to the Honorable John Kiragu. Okay, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this report on enhancing reporting on broadcasting, and please, I need your help here. My good friend Alice is very close to me. I like to report to support this report on enhancing reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms. As I do so, Mr. Speaker, I make reference to the fact that the Constitution provides the public a right to the information or the proceedings that goes on in the National Assembly and also the Senate. As you are aware, at a time like this, we have been sharing the broadcasting between National Assembly and Senate in a shared platform through the Signet, but in limited area in Nairobi. But I know that there has been development, like my colleagues have said, and technology has changed. And since 2016, when we had a social media policy for this house, things have changed. Technology has changed. And it is about time that we realigned our social platforms in line with the technology that has so far developed. As my friends have mentioned, there has been TikTok, Facebook, the YouTube, and all these platforms have been used within the parliament and outside, but it is about time that we reviewed as to how we have been utilized. The numbers don't show that we have been utilizing the platforms that we have. If you look at the numbers in the YouTube, you find, Mr. Speaker, that we have not been actively involved. But I want to acknowledge the support that our committee of broadcasting and library service that has received when we were discussing this report, particularly from the ICT committee and the Parliamentary Service Commission, the personnel from Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, who are contracted to cover the proceedings of this House. Their contribution really helped us to put up some specific recommendations. And these recommendations, Mr. Speaker, are directed to making sure that we align this parliament with other parliaments in the world, that we cannot afford to be left behind in matter of disseminating information to the public. And Mr. Speaker, we also noted that people know about what happens in Parliament by the covering they get, particularly on plenary sessions. But Mr. Speaker, you know a lot happens within the committees, and they are not covered adequately. We know that the activities of members of parliament are not only restricted within the premises of the parliament, that each one of us has an office out there in our constituencies. And these constituencies also carry parliamentary duties, whether we are giving bursaries or providing services to our people. So we are providing guidelines to make sure that whatever happens on our constituencies, it is also covered. And for that reason, that's why we are calling for a review of the social media policy. But quickly, Mr. Speaker, we are saying that we need to review quickly on our social media policy within 6 months, that we need to review our website to make sure that we align it with the activities that we have. And this, we are giving it some 3 months. We develop guidelines, packaging and of the content, and within 6 months, review parliamentary social media.
Limuru, proceed. I'm giving you an additional.
And that we can have a social policy to include provisions of publishing members of parliament information to make sure that within 6 months that we can adopt a reviewed report. Mr. Speaker, we can develop guidelines for the designation of one staff in our constituency among the existing staff to make sure that the content that comes from the constituency and it is transmitted to Parliament is one that is not fake, that it is traceable, and that we have somebody qualified to carry that responsibility. We can ensure that the Media Relations Department provides a structure for media coverage and verification. And this, Mr. Speaker, we think that we can also do it within a very short time. I want to say and emphasize what has been said. We must allocate resources to ensure that all the things that will be necessary to enhance the social media platforms are funded adequately. Mr. Speaker, you know, even with the gadgets that are here, not all of them are working when we need them to work. And I think it's so important for us to make sure that resources are provided so that we can support the platforms that we have, and we make sure that as a country and as a parliament, that we cannot afford to be left behind by the rest of the other parliaments around the world. I thank you.
Well, there being no interest, and I will call upon the mover to reply. Where is the chair for the...
I'm here, Speaker.
Where are you? Oh, yeah,
I am
way
here,
back
Speaker,
there.
and...
Honorable Nanok.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed now, and you reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to reply to this motion. But, Speaker, allow me to donate some of my time to one of my members here who wants to speak to the motion. Kindly, if you can allow that, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, yes. I mean,
I give
it's just that we did not have any registered interest in here.
Mheshimiwa George Gachagua.
Proceed, Honorable
Next
Gachagua.
to me here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this motion, Mr. Speaker, considering that our constitutional Article 118 requires the Parliament to conduct its activities in the open. And I believe that this will promote transparency in all our deliberations. Mr. Speaker, the online platforms will enhance visibility of the works being done by the members of Parliament, inside Parliament, and in the committee meetings. Mr. Speaker, the online platforms will capture a lot of attention from many Kenyans, and I believe that once it is undertaken, a lot of Kenyans will be in a position to actually even comment on what we shall be doing here. It will also enhance public participation, because it has been realized that most Kenyans don't know maybe what goes on inside here. But through online platforms, I believe that we'll be in a position to let Kenyans know what we do here in Parliament, and many questions will be answered through these social platforms. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Do you still wish to donate some more minutes to any other colleague? Okay, proceed now, and mover do reply now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And from the onset, Speaker, I wish to register my appreciation and gratitude to the members of the House who have spoken in support of this motion, seeing how important this motion is to this House or to Parliament generally. Mr. Speaker, the members have pointed out the contribution that this motion can make in terms of improving the visibility of this House, the public participation enhancement that will be seen in the public if this House can adopt or will adopt this motion. And Mr. Speaker, some of the members, of course, one of the members who has contributed here today, of course, has cautioned us on the question of the cost of upgrading the online infrastructure in Parliament. And the same, of course, has also been rebutted by the importance of investing in this infrastructure. And Parliament of Kenya,
Mr. Speaker, is in a position and is able to plan for this online infrastructure in a staggered manner so as to achieve the intended goal. Mr. Speaker, the world of technology is moving very fast. This has been observed in communication, and therefore we cannot afford to be left behind, and therefore we have to move along with the current technological improvements as a parliament. And most importantly, Mr. Speaker, online platform reporting, Mr. Speaker, will give us the platform to say our own story as parliament. And this is the gist of this report. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I do not want to belabor the points that the members have made here in support of the motion, and therefore would ask that this House supports this motion so that we can move on with what needs to be done to help us improve our online reporting. I want to thank you, and I move.
The question will not be put today. The chair directs that we will find an appropriate time when the question is going to be put. For now, it's deferred. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, report on the consolidated fund services expenditures for the supplementary estimates 1 for the financial year 2024-2025, resumption of debate.
I don't see any interest. I'm looking at my screen here. Beatrice, is this an old request you made, or you intend to contribute on the, it's old? Okay, under the circumstances, we'll have to call on the mover to reply. Where is the mover? Is he in the house? Is the mover in the house? So then, next order. This is also now deferred to another date. The next order.
Order number 11, motion, public petition on funds spent contrary to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution. Resumption of debate.
This is also an old debate. It's a resumption now. And there's no interest except Beatrice Elachi. Are you not interested, or is it an old one? It's an old one, okay. Well, under the circumstances, I'll also call upon the mover to reply. Where is the mover? The mover is not in. So that business is deferred to another date, when at appropriate date, and then the mover will reply and the question will be put. Next order, order number 12.
Order number 12, motion, implementation status of reports on petitions and resolutions passed by the House.
Is the chairperson of the Committee on Implementation in the House? Rafael Ojala.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the first report of the Committee on Implementation on the implementation status of reports on petitions and resolutions passed by the House, laid on the table of the House on 26th October 2023. Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Implementation is established under Standing Order 209 of the National Assembly Standing Orders. The committee scrutinizes resolutions of the House, including adopted committee reports, petitions, and undertakings given by the National Executive. The committee examines whether such decisions and undertakings have been implemented and whether such implementations has taken place within the minimum time necessary and satisfactory explanation for the delay in full implementation provided. Mr. Speaker, the mandate of the committee is further elucidated by Standing Order 201 of the National Assembly, standing orders that provides that within 60 days of a resolution of the House or adoption of a report of a select committee, the relevant cabinet secretary under whose portfolio the implementation of the resolution falls shall provide a report to the appropriate committee of the House. Mr. Speaker, sir, in consonance with Article 153(4)(b) of the Constitution, requires Cabinet Secretary to provide Parliament with full and regular reports concerning matters under their control. That the committee plays a pivotal role in ensuring that the National Assembly resolves issues of concern to the people by holding the executive to account through the implementation of House resolutions. This ultimately ensures that the National Assembly executes its constitutional mandate effectively and efficiently, and that it does not act in vain. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the execution of its mandate, the committee wrote to various ministries, state corporations, and agencies requesting for the implementation status of resolution petitions and adopted committee reports passed by this House. The committee received both oral and written submissions from the cabinet secretaries and accounting officers of the state corporations, providing the implementation status of the recommendations contained in the reports adopted by the House in the sittings held from February to April 2023 as follows. A, the report of the Departmental Committee on Education and Research on Public Petition number 047 of 2021 regarding the suspension of the Teacher Professional Development Program, that is TPD. B, report by the Departmental Committee on Education and Research on Public Petition regarding the repeal of sections of the Universities Act 2012. C, the Special Fund Accounts Committee report on the examination of audited financial statements for financial years 2013-2014 to 2015-2016 for the National Government Constituency Development Fund, NGCDF, for constituencies in Nairobi County. The Public Investments Committee report on the inquiry into the safety of ferries as observed in the audited accounts for financial year 2016-17, and a report by the Departmental Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on its consideration of the petition by the Kenya Association of Retired Officers, CARO, on improved terms for pensioners in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition, the committee undertook inspection visits to some projects and corporations to ascertain the progress made in implementing the the recommendation of the various reports. This report entails a compilation of the responses received and their status of implementation as at the time of the adoption of the report, committee observations and recommendations. Mr. Speaker, sir, in consideration of the implementation status of House resolutions pursuant to its mandate under Standing Order 209 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, the committee made the following general observations which have a direct impact on the implementation of House resolutions. A, implementation of the majority of the House resolutions have budgetary implications for their effective implementation. For this reason, there is a need for appropriation of funds in subsequent financial years to ensure House resolutions are implemented as directed. However, in most instances, inadequate budgetary allocations is the major hindrance to effective implementation of the same by ministries, departments, and agencies. B, there was no adequate budget allocated to the ministries, departments, and agencies to implement some of the recommendations. And C, some of the recommendations were generalized and not specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound, so as to facilitate smooth implementation of House resolutions. Mr. Speaker, sir, in order to address these challenges, the committee made the following general recommendations. That the accounting officers of MDS, that is ministries, departments, and other agencies, should factor resolutions with budgetary implications in the subsequent financial year budgets for effective implementation. That accounting officers of MDS should incorporate House resolutions in their work plans for effective and efficient delivery of the implementations. This should include timelines for achievement of specific deliverables and assignment of responsibility. And C, that the EACC should provide a status report of all pending investigations stated in this report within 60 days of the adoption of this report by the House. D, the National Treasury should ensure appropriations of funds for the implementation of House resolutions are done within one financial year following the adoption of a House resolution for the public to derive the intended benefits. Further, the National Assembly should allocate sufficient funds to the implementing agencies for effective implementation of reports passed by the House. And C, government agencies and departments are directed to implement House resolutions should endeavor to fit the resolutions in their work plans and deliver the same within the stipulated time frame. Failure to do so, sanctions should be imposed against the responsible officials. Mr. Speaker, sir, those observations and recommendations, if considered and implemented, will enhance accountability, effectiveness, transparency, efficiency, prudent management, commercial viability, and value for money in state corporations. Mr. Speaker, sir, having noted the proceedings of the Select Committee on implementation on the examination of the various reports I beg to move and urge the House to adopt this report.
You have to be seconded.
And I now request the Honorable Koimburi, who's here, I can't trace him. Mwalio and Honorable Mwalio to second the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mwalio, proceed. Give him the mic.
Mr. Speaker, I second.
Fair enough. I'll have to propose the question. Honorable members, I now propose a question that this House adopts the report of the Select Committee on implementation and its consideration of the first report on implementation status of reports on petitions and resolutions passed by this House, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, the 26th of October, 2023. The Honorable Ochieng David.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the committee chaired by the Honorable Njala, who is my neighbor at home, for a good report, Mr. Speaker. The National Assembly, and indeed Parliament, in this country works through bills, resolutions, petitions. And to know how effective our role is, Mr. Speaker, to know that Parliament has teeth depends almost entirely on adherence to and implementation of the resolutions made by this House. Mr. Speaker, it is so disturbing, extremely so, that first of all, we take so long to make our resolutions. And even when we make them, Mr. Speaker, if you listen to the report that has been presented to this House this evening, and you check the history of resolutions from this House and the implementation, Mr. Speaker, including sometimes even private members' bills that become law. It's like we are begging. Like this House has no capacity to ensure that the resolutions of this House are implemented. There are many. But you can count on your fingers how many have been implemented to the end, Mr. Speaker. And so it will be upon this House, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that in future, be it a government department, be it a ministry, be it a SAGA, be it an MDA, if this House passes a resolution, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the motion, the order paper today, and of this week, and of next week, and of the previous week, Mr. Speaker, this House works through motions. And most of the time, these motions propose resolutions to ensure that the country moves in the right direction, Mr. Speaker. If the assembly of the people of this country make resolutions that are not implemented, Mr. Speaker, then you are working in vain. And so I believe that we must get away as a House to ensure that our resolutions are implemented and that failure to implement our resolutions has sanctions to it. You've had Chair present his report, and there are myriad things that this House resolves every day. This afternoon, Mr. Speaker, this afternoon, we had a case where a gentleman, an MCA, has been abducted. No one knows where he is. The police don't know. The committee concerned, Parliament doesn't know. And we've had cases like this so many times when they come, they brought to the House, we make resolutions, but nothing happens. And so this House has become like a talk shop. We talk, and then talk some more. Then we come back, the same issues raised in the next session.
Proceed. Give him an additional 2-3 minutes, as many as he
The same
wants.
issue is brought in the following parliament. Again, we talk. And it's because we didn't give our committees, or even if we've given them, our committees are not biting with the teeth that the Constitution gives them. Our committee are not using the teeth.
Yeah. What's your point of order, the Honorable MP for the Greater South?
Mr. Speaker, as you would know, I would be very hesitant to interrupt the honorable member for Ugenya when he's debating, because you know the quality of his debate. And you can even tell from his contribution how important this motion is to our republic, even from the points that he's raising. Mr. Speaker, we are on agenda number 11, which is the motion on public petitions on funds spent contrary to the provisions of Article 22. A very important, sorry, we are on the reports on petitions, Mr. Speaker, a very important tell you that we are running into quorum hitches. As we speak now, if you look around the House, Mr. Speaker, I would like to bring to your attention that we actually do not have quorum when we are debating such an important matter that is before this House, Mr. Speaker. And again, I want to apologize because I'm always very hesitant to be on my feet when the honorable member for Ugenya is on his feet because of the substance that he brings to this House. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Under these circumstances, it is crystal clear that we do not have a quorum. I direct that we ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes and also direct the whips to do their job of whipping members of parliament to the House. The quorum bell is being rung. It's only the whips who are allowed to go out there and to whip members of parliament.
Over this afternoon is in progress, and that is the quorum hitch has been raised by the Honorable Member John Kiarie, who stood on a point of order to alert the Speaker that the House, as the debate is on, does not have the required quorum during the proceeding of the House, and this is pursuant to the House Standing Order number 35. The Standing Order number 35 indicates that if at any time after the chair is taken or when the House is in committee or a member objects that there is not a quorum present, the Speaker or the chairperson shall count the members in the House or the committee as the case may be. And in this case, it is the House, Standing Order 35, paragraph 2, indicates that if on the count under paragraph 1, that is, if a point has been raised, that there is no quorum and there is a count, a quorum does not appear to be present, the Speaker shall cause the division bell to be rung as on a division, or if no quorum is present at the expiration of the 10 minutes. Remember, what we have seen right now is that the Honorable Member Farah Maalim, who sits in the Speaker's panel, and currently the Speaker for this particular time, has directed that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes, also directing the whips in the House to do their role or to undertake their role of whipping members who may be within the precincts of Parliament but not inside the chambers to do right that. Also, the Speaker directed that no member other than the whips should walk out of the chamber. Of course, remember the House is looking for members to be inside the chamber, so if at any point any other member who is inside the chamber walks out other than the whips, then that would jeopardize the whole part of looking for members to correct for the House to proceed with its business. At the expiration of the 10 minutes, if the Speaker is in the chair, the Speaker shall adjourn the House until the next sitting without question put. So as the 10-minute quorum bell during the proceeding of the House continues, we hope that the quorum will be achieved. If not, then the House shall adjourn until the next sitting. And before the quorum, the lack of quorum in the House was raised by the Honorable Member. The member for Ugenya, David Ochieng, was on the floor of the House. That is Honorable Sabina Chege. Of course, she's just walked into the chambers. Before that quorum hitch was raised by the Honorable Member John Kerie, the member for Ugenya, Honorable David Ochieng, was on the floor of the House. At this point, the business that was being transacted was consideration of the motion on the implementation status of reports on petitions and resolutions passed by the House. The quorum bell is still on. Remember, this is a quorum hitch during the proceeding of the House business, and pursuant to the House Standing Order number 35, then a member could raise on a point of order to indicate that there is no quorum inside the House, and that is what exactly has happened. But before that quorum bell or that quorum hitch, business that was on the floor was that members were considering the implementation status of reports on petitions and resolutions passed by the House. This is a motion that was moved by the chairperson, Committee on Implementation, that is Honorable Raphael Wanjala. This is with regards to a report that was laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 26th October, the year 2024. And members had begun considering or debating or weighing in on this particular motion, with the member for Ugenya, Honorable David Ochieng, taking the floor and indicating that the resolutions of the House ought to be implemented, that there are a number of reports and even concerns that are discussed by the House, and resolutions are usually made, but implementation, as he indicated, said some of them are not implemented, and that then begs the question of the whole point of making resolutions for various concerns, whether it is about ministries or departments, agencies, that is either government agencies, government departments, ministries, and various other institutions that issues are brought before the floor of the House, and the House makes such resolutions but end up not being implemented. This is a report that was moved by the chairperson of the Committee on Implementation, that is Honorable Raphael Wanjala. As you can see, he is right there in front of the dispatch area with other members. Currently is a quorum bell that is underway. Pursuant to House Standing Order number 35, if during the proceedings of the House, when the business is in progress and the House lacks quorum, that is Honorable Farah Maalim, the Speaker. If there is no quorum, then the House will be adjourned. Allow me to hand you over back to the proceedings of the House.
Honorable members, there being no requisite quorum, and the time being 5:38 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 24th of September, 2024, the year 2024, at 2:30 p.m.